The College Basketball Experience American, aka the AAC preview edition on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get up to $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code TCESGPN. Welcome, everybody, into the College Basketball Experience American Conference Preview. Preview number 27 out of 31. We're in the home stretch. 6 days to go. Oh, that opener can't get here soon enough. Can't wait for Sunday night marathon show. You're looking live at a triple header here tonight. This is leg number 2. College football weeknight previews going probably live around 10 Eastern. So go check out the A10. Go check out the other 26 previews out there already. But yeah, we're going to get into it. If you are wondering who you're listening to, I'm Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. former Zephyr, with Austin P. with the Governors, with South Carolina with the Gamecocks, and West by God, Virginia, with the Mountaineers. It is also another edition of Mac Tonight over here at the College Experience. And joining me to talk college hoops. You guys just heard him on the A10 preview. Now he's talking AAC. He is the LeBaron driving cocktail napkin in heaven. He's Noah Bienick.
How we doing, guys? American. Or as they will not say AAC anymore.
I know they hate it.
The American. Happy to talk it. Always a pleasure to jump on and do these preview episodes. I really do enjoy them. Let's have some fun.
Let's do it. And we're going to work on getting you some music here.
Yeah, we got to. Yeah, no one needs. You've earned music, I think.
That's gonna be my weekend project. And third man.
All right. I don't need any.
I've got music. I've got music picked out for myself. We got to get
for the pregame show this year. That will be downloaded on this app. So awesome. Hopefully, I'm not too challenged. But third man in the booth, you guys know him from the Windy City. He is the co-host of the Locks and Dogs podcast. He is Cannabis Capper, aka CC. What's up, man?
Mac, great to see you. Great to be here. Great to be talking American. Out of curiosity, how do you feel about this conference? Do you think the arrow was pointed up, sideways, or down overall?
Bienick thinks up.
I didn't say that.
I thought you did when we were talking A10.
I think the league will be good this year, but trajectory, is the league in a healthy spot? No, because Memphis wants to fuck out. So
I can't blame them. I mean, I think the arrow was pointed down. I think
I don't know quite how to, I guess, answer that question, because last year they were set up for 2 bids, but Memphis swept, and I think they've got 2 teams that are in candidacy at large. They've got to do some work, but I think if the American gets 2 bids, I think it's a healthy spot. But it's just long term, you're probably losing your big ticket items soon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I mean, this league struggles with an identity. We were before you hopped on, Noah. We were talking. Who's Memphis's biggest rival?
They don't have one.
It would probably be UAB because they call it the Battle of the Bones. But
they
like
trophy,
you would have to really like know the sport in and out to know that. That's not like them and Houston are playing. I got to watch Memphis Houston. So that's what is down about this league is with just so much turnover, kind of getting all their teams rated that they've lost any rivalries and just any sort of what could have been an identity.
And there is some regionality to the conference, which is kind of nice. You have the 3 Texas schools. You've got some of the the schools in the south. They're near each other. There could be some rival, but there just isn't. There's not a lot of, you look at the schedule, like which games like get you excited. I guess Florida Atlantic and USF could become something. UAB and Memphis. It's a rivalry. But there's not like with just about every other conference, there's at least one matchup that you can point to and be like, okay, that historically speaking, that's one that I got to make sure I get eyes on this year. And this conference just doesn't have. I mean, they've got some good teams, they've got some good players. There are reasons to get eyes on this, but just from a conference standpoint, I feel like I could point to other conferences and say, okay, it's on the way up clearly. Like A10, I feel this is an up year for the A10. There's going to be a really, really good basketball played, really, really chippy, in the conference play in particular. I don't feel that way about the American.
So basically, we just came in and just started.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We just came in and
Fans of the American, click on the episode, and then we just say all of that. Thanks a lot, Capper, for bringing it up as a talking topic. All of the American fans have turned it off.
All we did was just shit on the conferences.
Well, all you did was shit on the Big Ten, and I'm sure that got views.
Was it by choice? I can't control what Colby does.
No.
There were 2 out of 3 of us shitting on the Big Ten. The Big Ten does suck, but I was shitting on it as much as the other co-hosts last night. I was trying to get through the episode because we were 5 hours into conference previews.
That was a marathon. I went out to when you were talking about Rutgers, I wanted to take the dog for a walk, and I came back, and I think you were still in Washington. I'm just like, good God.
Well, and no, I don't know if you knew this too. We started the episode during the World Series game, and then I got done with college football.
I was watching it.
It was still like in the 15th inning.
It was a 7-hour game.
Yeah, that was crazy. So at least I had that going on in the background. But let's talk some American hoops. But first, we're going to talk about ourselves because.
Well, you want to talk about last year? We didn't talk about it.
Real quick, let me hit the ad. NFL, MLB, NBA, college football, college hoops, NHL, everything. We got podcasts out there. So subscribe to the SGPN feed to catch every episode wherever you get your podcast today. Bienick, take it away.
Yeah, Memphis swept last year. I think anybody had to be drunk to predict Memphis was, 1, going to go 16-2 in the league and win the regular season, and 2, continue that and win the conference tournament. But, the entire coaching staff had been rummaged through, and not only in the off season, but then in the preseason leading up to it, Penny fired a dude, and it was just a lot of turmoil. And then they went through the non-con like a buzzsaw. They had competed in the Maui final and lost to Auburn, who turned out to be extremely good. And Memphis was if they had not won the AAC conference tournament, they would have been probably a 6 seed. So they were good. I had Temple as my conference tournament winner. Mac picked Wichita State. We both had UAB winning the regular season. That just didn't pan out. They went 13-5 in the league, but 24-13 overall. It took some time for that team to click last year. Unexpectedly, we both thought they were going to come in and be the best team in the league. Where we both were correct was North Texas. They were our sleeper. They were picked 7th in this league last year in the preseason, which was kind of crazy. We both had them 2nd, and they finished 2nd. For bust, Mac, man, this is evil. You took the low-hanging fruit of South Florida. No shit. Come on. And then I had Wichita State, and they go 8-10, and that was a hit too. I think they were picked 4th in the preseason. So that's the season in review in a 2-minute blurb.
So basically we were pretty on it outside of Memphis. Yeah.
Well, you missed the Memphis prediction, and it's 4x. You missed 50% of them. So
there is something about low expectations, back against the wall. Now everybody's back in on Penny. That might mean we might need to fade the old Tigers this year. So stay tuned. We'll get to Memphis here probably in about a half hour, Memphis fans. So, they're crazy passionate. Speaking of Memphis, there he is, Penny Hardaway. He's looking at me going, you going to go against me?
I got to shit on us some more, huh?
Did you really just shit on our conference?
Yeah, you shitting on our conference?
I did go against Memphis heavy 2 years ago, and it worked. Last year, I ate shit, so we'll see where I'm at this year.
I think last year you picked them like third or something like that, just behind North Texas and UAB.
The talent-wise, they got the best talent every year. You can't pick them lower than fourth, even if you can't stand them. But yeah, we'll get to them in a minute. Let's talk Charlotte. Tough year last year. Fern did a great job in year one in the interim year. When Sanchez hopped over to Virginia, promote within, magical year. 19-12, then back to 11-22, where they were right in the basement. So, Bienick, do we get a boomerang? What do we get here with these old 49ers here in year three?
I'm not really going to be the one to stick my neck out and predict the boomerang, but a good thing is you got Kylan Blackman returning, who graduate senior, 6'4" wing, played 26.5 minutes a game last year. It's a nice piece to have, and honestly, the backcourt looks pretty promising. You got 3 seniors expected to start, and Dezane Mingo from Marshall and Damani Harrison from Southern Indiana. He was a knockdown shooter from deep last year, shot 41% on 4.5 threes a game, averaged 15.5 points, 5.5 boards. And Mingo, he averaged 5 assists last year for the Thundering Herd, and I think that should be able to play pretty well in the American for this upcoming season. The front court's pretty new, though, and kind of unproven at this type of level. Kalel Mading transfers in from Norfolk State. He played 22.5 minutes a season ago for NCAA tournament team. He's a 6'11 grad senior. Going to play center. He averaged over a block a game last year. And then Arden Conyers, he comes in from South Carolina. His first year of college basketball, he redshirted. Then last year as a redshirt freshman, played 13.5 minutes a game. Didn't shoot it well. Didn't really do anything too well in particular. He stays in the region, transfers down a level. We'll see how well he plays in the AAC this season. Then there's a couple of gambles in the portal. Anton Bunk, a 7-footer from Providence, and Spencer Elliott, a 6'10 forward who only played 5 minutes his first season of college basketball at Tulane. Major Freeman transfers in from Siena. He was a volume shooter for the Saints last year, took 6.5 threes a game at a 30% clip. And then Ethan Butler is a 6'7 redshirt senior from Northern Illinois. He played 24.5 minutes a game. They do have a Spaniard from Barcelona, Raul Villar, or VR. And then David Gomez also comes in as a freshman this year. He's a 6'9 forward. So it'll be interesting to see what the Clits have up their sleeve this season. Experienced backcourt's a plus, but overall, I think there are plenty of question marks here, both coaching and with the roster. Capper, do you have some answers?
Okay, so if I remember correctly, last year Charlotte struggled with both size and shooting. So I see that they brought in a fair bit of size. I don't know if they have the shooting. I mean, like a couple of guys they brought in. Damani Harrison. He shot. Shot over 40% from 3. So I have a hard time getting excited for this roster. I see a bit of they solved a few problems that they knew they had last year, but I just see like a real transfer portal grab bag that hasn't really played at the mid-major level all that much. I think this is going to be another year of pain for the Clit.
Yeah, I'm trying to be optimistic on this team, but I think that their roster is underwhelming compared to the rest of the AAC. So,
agree.
They're going to be at the bottom for me. I'm going to need to see it from Fern here. Yeah, so I'm pulling for them, but from a resources standpoint, they are behind compared to other teams in the league.
Yeah. Also, this is a tough job. I mean, given the conference they're in, the state
really
they're in, and the
shouldn't
conference
be.
they're in, this is a tough program.
It really shouldn't be. So
I mean, think about all the other schools in Carolina.
You've got so many other programs. Yeah, everything else. Yeah, they have to compete within the state.
You're in downtown Charlotte. It should be super attractive.
Yeah, if they're a dude, they're going to Duke, Carolina, or NC State.
Yeah,
sure. They're 3 hours east.
Yeah, but those are blue bloods. So
Yeah,
there's a reason why Charlotte has
you're
struggled for years and years to get it going.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
struggles in every aspect, every sport. Like it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. The entire athletic department's a little asleep at the wheel, in my opinion.
Is this program
Okay.
sleeping at the wheel right here?
I don't know. They had a really good year last year. Very good year last year.
19 and 14.
You-
May the Schwartz be with you. There will be no ECU music on this episode. Sorry, everybody listening on the audio
we
side.
believe in the Pirates.
We head to year 4. They've been consistent under Schwartz. Middle of the pack pretty much year after year here. Can they take a step here? Can they get over 20 wins? Last year they cracked the top 5, had a winning season. Every time they lose a game, Colby wants to fire him. But overall, I think he's a pretty good
Yeah. They lose their 2 stars from last year's team, though, and RJ Felton and CJ Walker. But they do return 3 guys, 3 seniors that played 20-plus minutes a season ago, and Jordan Riley's back, and that's huge. He played 33.5 minutes a game last year, averaged 14.5 points, 6 boards, 2 assists. They need him to shoot it a little bit better if they're going to rely on as much as I think they are this season, because they're going to need him to be big. And Travion LeBeau, 6'3" senior guard, comes back after playing 21 minutes a game last year. And Jashane Woodard, a 6'7" senior, played 21.5 minutes a game last season too. Big roster, good defense, usually under Coach Schwartz. Isaiah Mbang transfers in from William and Mary, averaged 3.5 assists last year in 20 minutes a game as a freshman. I think that's a really good get coming in from the CAA. We'll see how well he translates into the AAC. And then also Giovanni Emejeru, a George Mason transfer last year as a redshirt junior, played 16 minutes a game. He's a 6'10", a redshirt senior for this upcoming season. He's going to split time with Eli Delorier, a Providence transfer big man who played just 6 minutes in his freshman season. A couple other guys here. Corey Kalker comes in from junior college. He averaged 13.5 points per game, 4 boards, 4 assists. You have RJ Felton's younger brother, LaDante. You have a couple of freshmen, a couple of guys that were deep on the bench last year coming back as well. East Carolina has actually got the second most returning minutes in the conference, which doesn't say a whole lot for the league. So that's something to keep in mind. But most of these rosters are quite experienced and older, and you don't have that with East Carolina. And that's another thing that Schwartz really excelled with on last year's roster, is just experience, and that shows in the defense. And we'll see how good this defense is. I got questions in the front court for sure, and I think that the wings lack some shooting talent. So we'll see what happens with East Carolina. I think it's a middle bottom-ish tier team in the AAC. Capper, what do you think?
I think they are going to surprise you. The backcourt's legit. I think the combination of guards they have, I can see how they kind of fit together. The area of concern is in the posts. That's where they really don't have a lot of experience, and they need to see some of these guys develop. I think you're going to see them struggle in the non-conference. There's a team that's going to definitely struggle in the non-conference schedule, but I think once it comes to conference play, I think they're going to have a few things figured out there, and they're going to be a team that nobody really wants to play, especially on the road. So yeah, I think they're going to be chippy this year. The backcourt again makes sense to me. I can see how they fit together. I just got to see that front court develop. They've got a lot of youth there, but there's some talent in the front court. Just so you guys see, we just have to see if it comes out this year or not. If it does, they could be really good.
Yeah, just my entire thought process on East Carolina basketball. Colby's not going to want to admit it, but last year it was their best year since 2014. The most wins.
Yes, this program has sucked.
Yeah, so it's like the bar's not high.
This program has been dog shit.
Holy shit!
No, we looked at it prior to the fucking episode. They have not been in the NCAA tournament since 1992. Schwartz, I think Schwartz is a good coach, man. I think he's a Rick Barnes guy. So I know we have opinions on Barnes in actual March. But for in regular season, Barnes gets the most out of his teams, in my opinion. So Schwartz, I thought, did a good job last year, cracking the top 5. I think the floor is high with him.
I can't agree with you that he got the most out of his team. Was it 2 years ago? I think the
Barnes?
2024 team was really good.
Oh, are you talking about Schwartz or are you talking about Barnes?
Schwartz. He had Bobby Pettiford, Brandon Johnson, Ezra Azar. All those were high major players last year, and they just under 500.
But like Barnes, he's better with kind of the no-name guys. He's better just grinding
Not
games
these
out.
last couple of years, man.
Look at this last year. He had nobody on that team last year.
When previously, I'll maybe give it to you when Schwartz was on staff with Barnes, but these last 3 years have been like Barnes' best years in his coaching career, period. His best 3-year stretch ever.
Have they really had the biggest names other than Dalton Connect?
Well, they pulled in like big portal guys, and they had, they were, I guess, not big name players when they got to Tennessee, but they turned into big name players, and they've had expectations the last 3 years. Yes.
Barnes that was Barnes' forte at Texas. But when Barnes had like the dudes at Texas, he sucked. Or he didn't suck. Like he would go to the round of 32. But when he would have those under the radar guys, he would go to the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. So anyway, but this is Schwartz. Did middle of the pack. I think the floor is high. I
agree.
Schwartz.
Yeah, I don't for this conference, this isn't that bad.
Low ceiling. Last year was the best year in a decade, and they had 19 wins.
I know, that's what I mean. But the floor is high. Like he came in right away and they won 16. It's going to be right around that 15 to 18 range. I think we're agreed here.
Okay.
Jakus, year 1, coming over from Scott Drew, 18 and 16. Interesting team. They were all over the place. There were games where I'm like, this game's really good, talented. There were games where I'm like, they're really soft. Year 2, what do we think, Bienick?
Oh, it's a little bit all over the place again. I think
that's what the fuck to do with this team.
Yeah, I think that's just John Jakus's entire like mojo. Plus, he had really good recruiting chops and bringing in these international players to Baylor, and he's brought that influence to FAU. And last year maybe he had a little bit of a late start, and he got the job in the middle of the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, and the portal had opened. And sure, I mean the roster was still really good last year, and this year there is some talent. I mean Cannon Carlisle coming in from Indiana, and he was really good. I believe he was at Stanford previously. He was great there. And then Isaiah Elohim is a sophomore, comes in from USC, only got 5 minutes of burn with the Trojans last year on a roster that was extremely experienced. And then Maxime Logie is an Oregon State transfer. His freshman year, he only got 6.5 minutes of play time as well. It's an interesting approach as his big ticket items are a little bit younger and less experienced, whereas the rest of the league is older. And I don't think that's necessarily going to play for this upcoming year, because even the bench, young and experienced, a couple of Euro gambles as well. The one big returner is Nicolo Moretti, who played 22 minutes a game his redshirt sophomore year. Now 6'1", he's going to be the point guard this season, averaged 3.5 assists last year, shot 34.5% from 3 on 2 attempts a game. That's going to be like the identity, is that backcourt with him there. And then the Euros kind of making up the front court along with Logie coming in from Oregon State. So it's an interesting team that I'm not running to the window to back often in the early non-con portion of the year. We'll see how FAU does in year 2 of Jakus, but I'm not necessarily too high on the Owls here.
Okay. I mean, Jakus has been with the program for 2 years, and each year they've gotten rated in the portal a bit. I see the approach they're taking as far as like the youth movement. I think that makes sense. Now, if they could develop and keep these kids like for year 2, year 3, that's where I think you're going to start to see the improvement in the program. I think this year is going to be about trying to find an identity with a bit of a young kind of grab bag of guys that we haven't seen a whole lot of. So I think they're going to take their lumps this year. I think they'll get better as the year goes on. Super low ceiling, not a very high floor. It's going to be I think it's going to be a rough season in Florida Atlantic.
I was going to be swayed either way. Like I just wanted to hear your guys' take on this.
What do you think of it?
I think it's very similar to last year. I think they have some nice pieces. They got a couple high major portal pieces. I think Jakus was a good hire. Scott Drew guys, those guys have had success. So I think that they could challenge for 20 wins, but I think they won 18 last year with all those new pieces. I think it's similar to last year.
I think it's worse than last year.
Where'd they finish exactly last year? 10
They
and 8.
were
I think it's more of the same.
5th, 10 and 8.
I think it's more of the same. I think they get to around 500.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, both Capper and I were having the same feelings, just phrased it a little bit differently.
Yeah, if you want to, Cap, if you want to go fade FA, you could do so over at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag is your place to bet on basketball, everything else. Their prop builder, second to none. Their motto is bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. Easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using crypto. Head over to MyBookie.ag. Use our promo code TCESGPN for a 100% bet back bonus up to $500 for new customers. That's MyBookie.ag. Promo code is TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. You're getting the best prices. Novig is available in 35 plus states. Download that Novig app and get $50 off when you spend $5 if you use our promo code SGPN25. Get in on the action. Novig, promo code SGPN. Continue the journey. Hey! Talk about the Memphis Tigers. Great year last year. We mentioned it at the top of the hour with Penny back against the wall. Everybody was out on him, pretty much us included.
Yeah,
but 29-6, 16-2. They did have a disappointing early round exit to Colorado State where they had a lead at halftime and kind of just got outplayed and worn out in the second half. But all things considered, they sweep the regular season. They and postseason title. It was their first regular season title in 7 years under Penny. Do they repeat here, Noah?
I struggle to really put a lot of faith in this approach. I think Penny really enjoys recruiting an entire team every single year. And to me, like preseason, trying to gauge how good teams are going to be year in and year out, when you're a guy like Penny and so polarizing and always entering with expectations and slightly under delivering in a league where Memphis has plenty more resources than everybody else, I'm gonna be one of those that doesn't pick them. I'll take the field in the American, but what I will say is they're usually pretty fun to watch. They get up and down the floor pretty in his entire career, top 50 tempo. Like they fly. The issue with that is that the turnover percentage is pretty high.
Yep.
And your point guard for the upcoming year is Doug McDaniel. So it'll be a roller coaster. Sure, it'll be a pretty entertaining one and fun one. And he'll be able to run the offense in a way that I think Penny will enjoy. And yeah, I mean, McDaniel's going to stuff the stat sheet in a multitude of ways. Last year, he averaged 5 assists at Kansas State, but there was times where he was benched by Jerome, dang it. And we'll see what happens, but he's not the greatest shooter. He's a little point guard. And we'll see how that plays in the AAC. But I mean, if you want to be a good team in transition, he's your guy. And I think that's going to be the identity of Memphis once again. You got Sincere Parker as well, who thrives in that up and down type of game, and he's a good defender, comes in from McNeese State, and he played 20 minutes a game with the Pokes last year. Quante Berry from Temple is another guard that can provide you good defense and also is good in transition. And They've got some depth too in the backcourt with an LSU transfer, Curtis Givens III, who played 18 minutes a game his freshman year. Julius Thedford coming in from Western Kentucky, who played 22 minutes a game his freshman year. He was a stud. He shot 36.5% from three on 4.5 attempts a game. He'll be one of the better shooters on the team, I think. I don't think it's a very high bar either for what it's worth. Because if there's anything that this roster does lack, I think it is in the shooting department. The front court is talented and it's deep. You've got Aaron Bradshaw coming in from Ohio State, 7-footer who started his career, I believe, at Kentucky and has just kind of trickled down the ranks. And we'll see how much he gets to play this season and if he's able to really kind of solidify the five and be a good defender. And we'll see. Me personally, I'm not banking on that everything's going to be able to click for Memphis this season. Zachary Davis comes in from South Carolina, 6'7" senior forward who played 26.5 minutes a game last season. He was a good defender as well. Is able to clog the lanes for you. And then Hassan Abdul Hakim comes in from UTRGV, played 29 minutes a game in the Southland last season, averaged 13.5 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, gave you over a steal per game, shot 32.5% from 3 as a forward. You've got Tariq Ingraham coming in from Ryder. That's an interesting get coming into the American. He averaged 11 and 7 there for the Bronx. Ashton Hardaway, Penny's son, comes back because he was at the program previously, transferred out to St. Mary's. William Wharton coming in from South Dakota State. He didn't play a whole lot his freshman year there. You got a D2 transfer from Lane and Mason Matthews, who's 6'8". And then further on the bench, you got even more big men and Sudanese guy, South Sudanese, and Simon Mayok, Arope from Columbia, and Thierno Silla from Stephen F. Austin. There's just, you're throwing a lot of shit at the wall with this approach, and it doesn't give me a whole lot of faith in the preseason. Just giving analysis. So, Capper, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me Memphis is winning the league. On paper, like if you go through it, like name by name, it sounds kind of impressive. But there's a lot of mouths to feed here. You've got a lot of guys who are coming off seasons. They played major minutes at, in the case of Doug, he played major minutes at what I would consider a bigger program. Same with Zachary Davis, at South Carolina. Either way, you've got guys who played major minutes at other programs and are now coming in to this. And I don't know how he's going to keep everybody happy. I think what you're going to end up with is a super talented roster, a reasonably talented roster. Now, I'll say it's talented. I'm not going to qualify it. A talented roster that is probably not going to be very happy every night. I think when it clicks and when it works, it's going to look fantastic. I think when it doesn't click and the guys are on their second road game in 3 nights. A bunch of them have been sitting, and guys aren't happy. I think it's going to look like a mess. I think you're going to see this team look fantastic, and you're going to see it look like a mess, and very little in between. I really want to pick them to win the conference because I do see the talent, and I do kind of see I see how some of it fits together, but I just think that there's just too much here. I'm sure Penny likes having his fantasy draft every year where he can go into the portal and put his guys together. But I don't know if that's a way to run a successful program, and I think it's going to struggle this year.
Yeah, I'm fading this team. He's not doing this back-to-back years. He's not going to hit on every single guy back-to-back years.
Okay, last year, PJ Haggerty was the star. Who's the star in this roster?
Doug.
It's supposed to be Doug, and that's a fade.
That's a fade.
Yeah, like I've seen Doug at K-State, seen Doug at Michigan, obviously Bienick. They got a lot of guys that are on their second, third schools, guys that, I don't know, don't come from the best winning programs. I mean, Temple, South Carolina.
I think Doug is going to be good. He thrives in chaos because he is chaos. I think he's going to be good, but
Perfect fit
that's it.
then.
Yeah. I mean, they got guys that got a guy from LSU as well. They got guys from losing Power 4 programs. I mean, Doug is not really known for being a winner. Doug is known for having nice stats and looking good here and there. So I think
Has he
you're
had
right.
nice stats? I think he's coming to Memphis to put up nice stats because he
He
hasn't
had
had,
nice stats
he hasn't
last
even
year.
had nice
Yeah,
stats.
no, he averaged what, like 5 assists per game, didn't it?
Yeah. He was. I mean, he was solid last year. But he's not efficient. I think this team.
Chaos. Embrace
Yeah,
it.
this team will be when they're an underdog. I'll definitely bet them. But when they're favored, that's when you go against Penny. So yeah, they'll be up and down. They'll be entertaining. It'll be entertaining for sure, like it always is in
They're
Memphis.
scheduled
Noah,
aggressively
sorry.
again.
Sorry, Noah, you said this about Bradshaw. I think it's true for just about everybody in this roster. They've all kind of like trickled their way down to Memphis. It's a case for Bradshaw and a case for a lot of these guys.
Yeah. I guess for the expected starters, because those are some guys that have performed, but not maybe to their talent level at higher destinations.
A lot of that.
There are quite a few up transfers in this group too, though. It's a throw shit at the wall and see what sticks approach, and it's
what it is.
Yeah.
It's called like it is. It's going to be a shit show. It's going to be up and down.
Yeah.
This program has not been up and down for the last couple years. They've been consistent. They've grinded really solid seasons out. They've gotten two guys that get Power 5 jobs in the Big 12. McCaslin getting the Texas Tech job. Obviously, Hodge going to West Virginia now. Now in comes Daniyal Robinson, not from the same tree. So interested to see how he embraces their identity, but puts his fingerprints on his program. 65-42 at Cleveland State, did a solid job. Also took over a pretty good program at the time under Dennis Gates. So can he do it again here, Noah?
So I try not to look at Ken Pom or Bart Torvik or scrimmages for any like preconceived notion of how the team's going to be. I try to attack it as simplistic and as clean as I can, but it strikes very interesting because I do look at Ken Pom for past data and Bart Torvik for past data. The models love North Texas this year.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting because there are some guys from Cleveland State transferring in with Daniyal Robinson to North Texas, and it's a pretty similar identity to what North Texas has had and excelled with. So I like that aspect of it, but from the Horizon to the American is a big step, and I do like the continuity portion of this. You've got Dylan Arnett, a guy who I've loved his entire career in the Horizon, and last year with Cleveland State he was a dog. He even played through injury in the conference tournament. 6'9" senior forward, played 28.5 minutes a game last year, averaged 11.5 and 7, shot 61.5% from the floor. He's a really efficient post player. And then you have Jashawn Stevenson coming in from Cleveland State, who shot 34.5% from 3 on 3 attempts a game. In his freshman year, he played 19.5 minutes, averaged 10 points. Very solid year. And you know what you're getting from the defensive end with all of these guys. Reese Robinson, 6'8" sophomore, played 16 minutes a game last year. Cole Franklin, 6'4" junior, played 15 minutes a game. Both of those are Cleveland State guys coming in as well. David Terrell is the expected point guard, and this is like a North Texas point guard through and through, but he has some size. He's a 6'4" junior, good defender, averaged 4 boards, 4 assists last season at UTEP. Will McClendon comes in from San Jose State, shot 35% from 3 on 5.5 attempts a game, and 32 minutes. Last season, he averaged 12 points, 3.5 boards, 3 assists. Gives him some depth at the point guard position as well. He's a redshirt senior this year as a 6'3" guard. You have a D2 transfer from Georgia Southwestern and Josiah Shackelford, 6'9" senior forward, who played 27 minutes there, averaged 17, 7.5 with 2 assists, shot 56% from the floor. And then they're taking a buy low approach on Demarion Watson, who's a 6'7" senior forward from Iowa State. And he didn't do a whole lot his junior season, but provides some experience and a power program that's been around the block. And TJ Otzelberger, pretty damn good coach and also defensive minded for sure. So I think it fits. And then two JUCO guys that stuff the stat sheet in a multitude of ways, and Buddy Hammer Jr. and Kamai Crosby to fill the bench here in North Texas. But once again, like Daniyal Robinson was pretty good at Cleveland State, never took him to the tournament. And that's like the hurdle that I struggled to get over with coaching in the Horizon and then coming in the AAC, or the American as they prefer it. I think it's a top half team. I don't have them competing for a title like maybe the metrics and computers do. I find that a little bit stunning that they're up there. So I think they're for sure like a top 5-ish team, but I don't see them 2 or 3. So what do you think, Cap?
I'm going to co-sign with you as far as the top 5. I actually really like the way this roster is constructed. The only concern I would have is the lack of size in the front court. Typically in the American, you typically see at least 1 7-footer a night. They don't have that. What they do have is they've got defense and ball handling, and that's going to be that's their identity. I do like that they have an identity. I think that's a great step a great first step in the right direction for Robinson coming in to establish his culture, his program at North Texas. I do. The more I look at it, the fit when I first heard it, I was. It didn't quite seem like a North Texas guy, but the more I look at it, I think this is gonna work better than most people think it will. I'm actually kind of excited. I've always kind of enjoyed North Texas just because of the way they play. Like, they used to defend the rim like it was, like they were a hockey team.
Yeah,
I don't think they're not quite that anymore, but I think you're gonna see defensive intensity, but it's gonna be a bit different. And I'm really intrigued to see what it looks like. I've got them top 5, and I could see them cracking top 4 maybe.
I got him in the top 4. I think that the identity is still going to be on the defensive side of the ball, and I like him bringing over his couple of his Cleveland State guys.
Yeah, it's gonna help.
I mean, Calhoun had success going from the Horizon to the Mountain West in 1 year. So I'm interested to see. He took over Cleveland State,
But
and
he
he
didn't
finished
bring
second.
like a Youngstown State team. It was a recruiting portal approach.
Yeah, but he also just brought in a completely new team, and it wasn't a lot of high major guys either.
No.
It was a lot of mid major fits, but I think top 4. I still think they're a top 4 roster. I think we'll talk about the rest of the league here, but I think Robinson is able to do what he did at Cleveland State year 1, come in, stabilize it, have a solid year. He finished second that year. I don't know if they finished second, but I got him 3rd or 4th.
In terms of coaching, would you rather have him or would you rather have Penny?
Robinson.
Me too. Not close.
I mean, Penny to recruit my roster. Rob Lanier, he's been solid at Rice here. He got, dude. By the way, he got jobbed at SMU. He took over SMU when they weren't good. He took them from 10 wins to 20 wins. Then they jumped to the ACC and they fire him after 2 years. I thought that was totally. I thought he got the short end of the stick, but came over to Rice. Last year goes 13-19. He was good at Georgia State. He went to the NCAA tournament. He went to the tournament at Siena too once upon a time. So another Rick Barnes guy in the state of Texas here.
Yeah. He's got his point guard returning from last year and a couple other returners that you like to see entering another year with a relatively new coach in the program. But the 3 or 4 other guys are mainly like role players from last year. But Trey Broadnax was a big return. I mean, he played 30.5 minutes at the point last year, 6'4" graduate, 12 points, 5 boards, 4 assists last season. He'll run the show, and he knows the system that they, want to implement here. And then they go out and get Jalen Smith as well, who Lanier had at SMU previously. He's a 6'4" redshirt senior guard who shot 38% from 3 in the last season that he was with Lanier with the Ponies. So I think that duo in the backcourt is going to be really good for Lanier. He's also got Jimmy Oladokun coming back. Relative, I I thought he was due for big things last year, and he didn't play a whole lot. Played under 10 minutes a game, but he's a 6'9" junior forward that can do a little bit of everything for Rice this season. Andrew Akuchi is a 6'11" senior who played 19 and a half minutes a game last season, and will have a little bit more runway. Got to improve the defense a little bit for Akuchi, but he was a really good pick and roll and good in the post forward type as well. Trey Patterson is a 6'9" graduate senior forward who played 17 minutes a game last season. He's back, along with Aaron Powell, who's a 6'1" freshman last season. He only played 6.5 minutes, but he'll probably play a little bit more, providing some depth in the backcourt this season. In the portal, they go out and get two low conference transfers that were stars previously at their destination. Nick Anderson from Prairie View. He put up 19 points per game, shot 33% from 3 on 5.5 attempts a game. He's a 6'5" senior wing. Dallas Hobbs comes in from Mount St. Mary's. Whoa, that was off. But he was a 6'1" junior guard, played 28 minutes a game for the Mount last season. 12.5 points per game, 3.5 boards, 3.5 assists. They also get a Corpus Christi forward, Stephen Giwa, who is a redshirt senior, played 21 minutes a game, averaged 6 and 5 for the Islanders, shot 63.5% from the floor. To me, Rice is one of the lesser talented teams. It's an old team, but I've got them in the bottom half of the American, and we'll see what happens with their season in year 2 of Lanier. It was kind of the year that he clicked it with SMU. Capper, do you think positive trajectory for the Owls here?
I mean, I think they probably win more than 13 games, but I think the ceiling is pretty low. I mean, maybe they get to 15, 16 wins next year, maybe. Yeah, I don't, in a league that's kind of known for having some pretty talented rosters. I see a team that would probably fit better in a low major conference than it would in the American. Yeah, I'm looking for something to kind of hang my. I guess Broadnax, you kind of hang your hat on. If he can deliver, they could be better. Some of the bigs are kind of intriguing. They got a couple shooters, but just in terms of like a dude perspective, they don't really have like the dudes that some of the other programs would have in terms of athleticism and length. It's gonna be kind of a forgettable season at Rice, I have a feeling.
I have them take it a step forward. To your mention, it year 2 at Rice, at SMU was the year they took a step. And if you remember, Lanier was the domino that created all that chaos 2 years ago. When they fired him, that opened SMU, then Enfield came over, and then USC opened, and Musselman went over, then Calipari went over, and then obviously Mark Pope, Kevin Young. So Lanier was the first domino that fell. His teams are good defensively usually, so and they're older. I think that they take a step forward here. Maybe they can crack the middle of the pack here.
Sure.
Next up, this team's going to be fun, man. Hodgson coming over from Arkansas State after 2 years, did a great job last year, winning the regular season title or getting a share out of it at 4 teams there in the Fun Belt. 45-28. He's good in the portal. Year after year, his teams are really old. They have an identity, and he comes over from the Nate Oates tree after 2 years as well. So what do you think here, Bienick?
I think this team's going to be pretty good. I don't know if it's as I'm going to use the blanket term talent. Memphis, sure, they've got a lot of big name players coming in from some higher type programs. South Florida has quite a few up transfers that are coming in here. But to me, last year, Bryan Hodgson had a lot of continuity, and I was like, yeah, for sure, this team's going to click. And in year 1, when he built that team at Arkansas State, you could tell that he kind of knew what he was doing in building a roster to kind of what he wanted to run at Arkansas State. To me now, year 3 of him being a head coach, I'm like, yeah, this guy's got it, because this is another roster that I think just fits super well. And it starts for me with the wings. You got Wes Ennis coming in from D2 Lincoln Memorial, where he was an All-American. You're not asking him to do anything other than shoot. He took 8 threes a game last season at 41%. And then Joseph Pinion follows him from Arkansas State, took 6.5 threes a game at a 36% clip. Also, Isaiah Nelson follows him from Arkansas State, where, this guy just really good rim protector, played 24 minutes a game as a 6'10 senior, a big man, and like that's going to play in the American. And also Damon Collins is going to help out in the front court, comes in from LSU, another really good defender. He also can step out and shoot it for you a little bit. There's a little bit more offensive talent with Collins than Nelson. He's a 6'9" redshirt senior forward, and he averaged 8 and 4.5 for the Tigers last season. And I think he's going to play pretty well in this system for Hodgson. So the wings just have so much talent. There's so much shooting depth here. There are some rim protectors. It'll kind of be like offensively, we'll see who takes over the point guard role. It might be like a type of positionless approach where everybody's able to handle the ball offensively. You're looking at CJ Brown, who returns from last year's South Florida team, is possible point guard for this team. He averaged 2.5 assists in 22.5 minutes as a freshman last season. So it's a pretty good returning piece if you're going to return one from last year's situation. The bench, again, some up transfers that you're taking a couple of bets on, especially in the shooting department. And that's where this team is going to thrive. Devin Hade comes in from Central Connecticut. He's a 6'5" senior wing, shot 32% from 3 on 4 attempts a game. He's good rebounder as well, averaged 5.5 rebounds. Josh Mojafo transfers in from Robert Morris, where he shot 38.5% from deep on 2.5 attempts a game in 30 minutes. He put up 11.5 points, 4 boards. Isaiah Jones from Oakland. This is some, scrappy wing, good rebounder, averaged 4.5 boards last year in 25.5 minutes, shot 32.5% from 3 and 2 threes a game. And then Xavier Brown is another good shooter, 34.5% from deep on 5.5 attempts per game with James Madison last year as a 6'2" senior guard. Also, just experienced handling the ball, 2.5 assists, over a steal per game as well. Defense is going to be pretty good, I would say. They're definitely more of an offensive-minded team that can really shoot, and I think they're going to be good enough defensively to where I think this is your front runner in the American this season, Capper.
Okay. I don't know if I can get to the front runner, but I definitely like the roster. Number one, you look up and down, and it definitely fits the kind of system that Hodgson wants to run. That's number one. Number two, I just see there's going to be able to mix and match a lot. A lot of, especially in the wings, they're going to be able to. They've got a lot of versatility there that they could throw at teams. And I like the depth of the front court. Everything kind of fits together. My only concern is how quickly it's going to gel. I think you could see this team definitely struggle in the non-conference slate, but then once it's time for conference play to it comes around, that's when you're going to see them kind of turn up a bit. I have a feeling. So this is a team I might look to fade early in the non-con, especially if they have a tough matchup. But once we get into that conference play, I'm going to be taking USF a lot. I think they're going to be undervalued, especially early in conference play. So there could be a slow start here, but once it gets going, I think this is going to be a really tough team in the American.
I'm high on this team. I'm high on the Hodgson hire. I thought it was a perfect fit. He did a great job energizing that Arkansas State program. His teams had an identity. They were old. They played fast. It was an open style, just like Nate Oates, where he came from. So they're going to be good. They're going to, like you said, positionless style of basketball. Got a lot of guys between 6'3", 6'4", and 6'9". So, this could be fun, man. They're gonna light it up.
Yeah.
And by the way, he's won at Memphis too. with the old Red Wolves. So should fit right in. We're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog's your place for pick'em entries where you can win up to 5,000 times. Underdog's got a new brand offer for customers. Play just 5 and get 100 in bonus funds when you sign up with the promo code. That is TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm is crushing it in college football, NFL, soon to be college basketball. Rhythm is also giving away weekly cash prizes, tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets in any model. You can win up to $1,000. Use our promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. Download the Rhythm and use promo code SGPN25. All righty, next up here, Temple. The corruption program here in the city.
He got a raw deal year one.
Oh yeah, you knew they were rigging him when they all of a sudden they got caught, and then all of a sudden they started winning every game to cover it
for
up.
a conference tournament championship.
I know they almost went to the NCAA tournament.
They almost did, yes.
That shit was rigged. Yeah. So Fisher comes over. He's a Villanova guy. He also worked for Larinaga. Good coach. I think that he did a good job last year too. They jumped up to 9-9 after that ridiculous first year. Can they take another step here, Noah?
I kind of see him more as a 500 team in the American this season again. They've got 2 returners that were like role players as freshmen, and this year they're probably going to be starters. And Aiden Tobiasen, who played 20.5 minutes a game last year, shot 41% from 3 on 2 attempts a game. And then Babatunde Duradala probably didn't drill that, but he's a 6'8" sophomore forward who played 16.5 minutes a game his freshman year, averaged 4.5 and 4. 2 pretty good pieces to keep in your program who are sophomores now and hopefully are going to grow with Fisher. And I think that's definitely a positive. A lot of up transfers here. So I do think that this roster is another one that has pretty good fit, but it's a blend of some seniors and some younger pieces. So it's not one of your older rosters, but it's I think it'll be able to play him into a 500 season. Jordan Mason is a point guard from Illinois, Chicago, where he averaged 9.5, 3.5, and 3.5 assists there with the Flames. Messiah Gilliard is the big get from the portal. Comes in from Manhattan, averaged 11 points, 7.5 boards, over assist per game as well. He was a really good shooter. Shot 50% from the floor, 31.5% from deep. Jemai Felt is also one of the big men that's going to be relied on a ton in the AAC this season. He comes in from Bowling Green. He's a nice defensive piece, and last year he averaged 5.5 and 6.5 with over a block per game. He's going to be a little bit undersized in the AAC, but they don't really have a whole lot behind him in the front court. So this is a guy that's probably going to play 25, 28 minutes a game and need to be a big piece on the defensive end. Darian Ford was a guy that didn't quite work out at Arkansas State last year. He only shot 32% from 3 on 4 attempts. He's going to come off the bench as a shooter for Temple, and we'll see how that works for them. And AJ Smith is kind of got the same role as a 6'5" senior wing, played 25.5 minutes a game for Charleston last year. His role is going to be, I think, a little bit less with Temple this season, but also just an off the bench offensive piece for Temple this season. CJ Hines is definitely more of your defensive, scrappier, athletic guard. He's a 6'2" senior, played for Alabama State last year, played 29.5 minutes a game, averaged 14, 3, and 2.5. Shot 38% from 3 on 5.5 attempts a game. He can do a little bit of everything, and that's really good depth for them in the backcourt. They just don't have that in the front court, and that's my big question with Temple, and ultimately what I think kills them this year in the American.
Okay. Based on the way they've constructed the roster, it looks like they're looking to improve defensively, which they needed to. That may end up sacrificing a bit in the offensive end, but I think they'll be able to get enough now on both ends where they'll be. I think the arrow was pointed up slightly It's not going. You're not going to see a massive improvement. They're not going to jump into the top 5. But I do think they're definitely a blob team, like kind of in the middle. I don't think you're not going to see them really fall off and really struggle. But I don't think you're going to see them really pull ahead either. Yeah, this is a team. They need to. They're still, I think, kind of trying to find an identity. I think they're a bit closer. So I think if they get able to figure that out this year, I think next year you might be able to see Temple make the jump. But I think this year should be more of a building year as opposed to a success year.
Last year, their offense was just so good. It was a top 5 offense in the American. They had Jamal Mashburn and Lynn Greer, and I just don't think the offense is going to be a top 5 unit again either.
No.
So,
yeah, I think they'll be better defensively, worse offensively. This is also the weird trip in the AAC. There's really no program near Philly in this league. Chippy at home, middle of the pack for me as well. Fisher, I think the floor is still pretty high with him. Even with the scandal year, he still was able to win 16 games. And then last year, a nice step up with the winning season. So I think it's closer to last year. Middle of the pack for me. Ron Hunter, man, he's been in Tulane for a minute now. I mean,
a decade.
Yeah, coming over there from Georgia State, famous NCAA tournament win where he falls off the stool. Yeah, you're number 7 here, coming off a nice season. This has been a little bit of a boomerang program. You can see it there: 20 wins to 14, and back up to 19. A lot of expectations, I think, for this year, Noah.
Well, that's going to happen when they have by far the most returning minutes in the league.
The only team with anything back, it feels like.
Yeah, they return 58%, and that's the highest other than East Carolina. East Carolina's second with 23.5%. So if you like continuity and handicapping off of known commodities, Tulane Green Wave is your team. And it really shines in the backcourt. Rowan Brumbaugh is a very good player. Last year, he played 35 minutes a game. He's a 6'4" redshirt junior this upcoming season. He averaged 15.5 points, 5 assists, 4 boards, over a steal and a half per game last season, and he shot 36% from 3 on 5 attempts. And then his Robin to the Batman is Asher Woods, who comes back. He's a 6'3" senior guard who played 28.5 minutes a game last year, shot 3.5 threes a game at a 33.5% clip, averaged 2 assists, or 2.5 assists a game, 2.5 boards, 11.5 points, and a steal per game as well. Percy Daniels comes back. He's a 6'10" senior who at the center position, he's going to have a lot more runway to play, and he's a pretty good defensive piece, and we'll see what he can do offensively this season with a little bit more time. Tyler Ringgold comes back. He's another big man. As a freshman last year, he played 11 minutes. He's got a little bit more offense to his game than Percy does. KJ Green comes back after playing 7 minutes a game as freshman year. He's a 6'3" guard. And then Luke Rasmussen was on the roster last season as a Lafayette transfer, and he redshirted. So he's back for the team alongside some deep bench players, Jake Shapiro and Joseph Tyke. Greg Glenn, unfortunately, is no longer on the team, passed away this offseason, which was tough for the program because that backcourt was going to be so good with 3 returning starters. But unfortunately, they don't have that, but they've got some tragic magic, and they've got some buy low talented transfer portal grabs and Scotty Middleton coming in from Seton Hall, where you know what you're going to get with honestly both of these guys. Curtis Williams from Georgetown as well. 2 really good defensive programs, and they can honestly add a little bit of offense to your wing as well. Middleton shot 38.5% from 3 on 2.5 attempts a game, and Curtis Williams in just 15.5 minutes shot 30.5% from 3 on 2.5 attempts a game. But yeah, both of them 2 really good defensive wings that add some experience and some length with high major experience. JoJo Moore comes in from Oral Roberts, and then Davion Bradford, a 7-footer from ETSU, comes in after only playing 11 minutes his junior season. So he's more of a depth piece in that front court. They'll need him because they don't have a ton of big men on this roster that have experience, just Daniels and Ringgold, who played 10 minutes a game their first year here with Tulane. But the backcourt's definitely the strength, and they've got some wings that provide some experience. Tulane, I think, is another one of those teams that will compete in the top half of the standings, not necessarily for a title, but I think the Green Wave will be good, and that's just continuity and experience that wins in basketball and college basketball. So, Capper?
The backcourt I absolutely love. It's actually really horrible that the kid passed away, because it would have been even more special with him there. I mean, it's a tragedy nonetheless, but just the fact that he could have been a part of this team and kind of taken it where they were, to a place that they all wanted to go. It's just really sad that he's not around. But I really do get the sense that it's gonna be a rallying point for this group. I mean, just hearing them talk about it. I mean, there's a quote from Hunter this offseason. I apologize. Just 1 second. I had it pulled up. God bless, and I can't find it. Oh, here it is. The last conversation I had with Greg, I told him we're going to do this. When I left him after the funeral, I said we would get it done for him. So it sounds like it's going to be a real rallying point for this team. So I think that, and given that the talent, and given that they've got kind of that cohesiveness that you like to see, I think this is an upper half team. I think this is a top 5 team. I The more I look at it, the more I think these pieces fit well together. They got a lot of versatility, great backcourt. They're going to struggle with size, and they're going to struggle in the post a bit. But this is a good group of Tulane.
Yeah, I like this team too. I like bringing over the 2 transfers from the high major level to pair with that backcourt. So I think they're going to play hard, play fast, and like you said, this is a rally year for one of their own. So I think Ron Hunter and company get back in the top 5 here and have another hell of a year and push for 20 wins. I think this is a good team.
I think so too.
Next up, this program is all over the place. Year 4 of Eric Konkol. He was so good at Louisiana Tech, and he's come over, and they just have struggled to find an identity at Tulsa. Year 4 now, he's 34-60 in his 2 years at Tulsa, 14-40 in league play. Does it get any better here, Bienick? It's a new team again.
I think there's some relatively high expectations for Konkol and Tulsa this season. For me, I don't know if I'm running to back them, but it's going to be interesting because I do think that everything you read about Tulsa for this upcoming season, they should be a lot better than they have been in the American. Terrence Ford Jr. is a big get from Arkansas State. He was the point guard for Hodgson last year. He played 30 minutes a game, averaged 9 points, 5 assists, shot 40.5% from 3-on-3 attempts a game. They also have a Troy transfer in Miles Rigsby in the backcourt, who's a 6'6 junior, played 28 minutes, averaged 12 and 4 with 1.5 steals per game as well with the Trojans. You have a 6'7 David Green transfer from Rhode Island, who shot 43% on 5 threes a game last season, averaged 14 and 6. Big time piece for Tulsa this season. And then Dorian Onwuchekwa, a transfer from Georgia Tech. He'll get a lot more burn this season after he played 18 minutes as a freshman for the Yellow Jackets. He comes in as mainly going to be a defensive piece, but he averaged 3.5 and 5 for the Yellow Jackets last season. If they choose to run their offense through him, he could do a little bit more, but they lack depth at the 5. And that's kind of, you're going to try to keep him healthy as best you can. But they do, again, this is another team that has plenty of depth at the wing with shooters. You have a St. Thomas transfer in Miles Barnstable, who shot 34% from 3 on 6 attempts a game, averaged 14.5 points last season. Ramad Dean transfers in from Fordham, shot 34% from 3 on 3.5 attempts a game. He's a 6'7 senior wing. Tylen Riley is a 6'3 junior guard who averaged 7.5 points per game last year at Cal Baptist. And then you've got Ade Papula from Moberly Area Junior College. He was ranked 11th in JUCOrecruiting.com's transfer portal. He averaged 18.5 points per game, 10 boards, and 3 assists. Shot 92 threes last season. So he'll be taking them with volume this year for Tulsa. And you can see that Konkol really focused on the outside shooting. almost to maybe this roster's detriment, because I don't know if there's enough in the front court here to sustain a winning team for the entire season. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot on Wachiko's shoulders.
Yeah, I definitely see the the emphasis on the shooting. That's evident in the roster construction. My concern is on the defensive end. I just don't know if they're going to be as reliable there as as they would need to be in order to compete in this league. Up front, I'm a bit concerned. I don't love the front court. Also, it looks like they're going out of their way to kind of change up their identity a bit, and I don't know how that doesn't always play very well. I think this program, it just needs to figure out what it wants to be and then work to achieve it, and it doesn't seem like it's doing that. I don't know if this is going to work this year. I see a bottom half team.
Yeah, I got them in the bottom half. They've struggled to find their identity. They haven't finished above 8th under Konkol. I think there's better options in this league, and it's a brand new roster. It's another team where, like Charlotte, I don't see how I could get on here and buy into this. Yeah, there's a couple nice pieces here or there, but can they come together, have a special year? I'll bank against it.
This is a better roster than Charlotte, though, right?
It's a better roster than Charlotte, but like Fern is at least finishing the top 3 in this league. Konkol hasn't finished it above 8th. So,
all right, slap.
All right, this is an easy one. Andy Kennedy, baby. What we got? 5 straight 20 plus, 5 straight 22 plus win seasons. Last year, yeah, you could make the argument they maybe didn't reach expectations, but still a 24 win year. 13-5 in league play. The year before that, they get to the NCAA tournament, made the tourney in 22. You could bank on him winning 20 plus. That's what he does. It's what he did at Ole Miss too. So, yeah, I'll be in on UAB to be right there to win the regular season title.
Yeah, with Kennedy, the last 4 years, he's had a top half offense, and 3 of them top 3 offense in their respective conference, whether it's Conference USA or the Americans. So the offense is really going to hum. Last year, I do think they had some expectations, whether Macker wants to blow them off or not. But yeah, I think it was a little bit of a disappointing year that they didn't go dancing and do good enough in the non-conference to put themselves in a place where they could have, had a pothole or two that they could endure. Ahmad Robinson comes in from Mercer, and he's the expected point guard this year. He put up 17 points per game, 5 boards, and 5 assists, 2 steals as well. It's going to be he's an Andy Kennedy guard through and through, like to the core. Like that's a guy that you're going to fall in love with by the end of the year. Jacob Meyer comes in from DePaul as well. In 20 minutes a game, he shot 33% on 4 threes a game. I think that's like an extremely good piece in the American. And then Mac, was there some insider training from Andy Kennedy to UMass as he goes over and gets Daniel Rivera? 28.5 minutes a game for UMass and Frank Martin last season. Really good defensive piece, and he averaged a block and a half as a wing last season for the Minutemen. 12 points, 7.5 boards, 2 assists. Like did a little bit of everything for UMass last season. Kyron Lindsay comes in from Murray State, where he played 15 minutes a game last season for the Racers. Good defensive piece again, averaged just under a block a game in 15 minutes, 6.5 points, 4.5 boards. You got a Syracuse transfer in Chance Westry that they're taking a big chance on. He didn't play at all his freshman year. And then Corin, one of the 3, McPherson, who transfers in from Northern Illinois. He's adds some shooting depth to this team. He shot 39% from 3 with the Huskies on 3.5 attempts a game last year, averaged 12 points, 5 boards. And then a couple of JUCO guys. And Evan Chapman, they're putting a lot of faith in the front court. He's a junior from McLennan, very good junior college program, and he excelled there with 15.5 points per game, 7.5 boards, 2.5 assists, over a block per game as well. He was ranked 33rd, JUCOrecruiting.com's transfer portal there. They also bring in another McLennan guard and Ari Gooch. He was a freshman last season, put up 14 points, 3.5 boards, 2.5 assists. And then Dejuan Anderson. He was a freshman last year at Triton. Put up 18 points per game, 4.5 boards, 2.5 assists. And then Indian Hills transfer João das Chagas, 6 points, 6.5 boards, as a 6'10 junior forward for this upcoming season. It's an Andy Kennedy team. You could tell there's emphasis on defense here, but there is some offensive talent, and there's a JUCO influence as well. So I think UAB is a contender again because I have a lot of trust in Kennedy. And yeah, I mean, we'll see how well this team, if he has a bounce back year, but there's just not a lot of continuity with this group at all from last year, which I think was one of his better teams on paper.
Yeah, that's my takeaway is that the roster doesn't seem to be nearly as strong as it was last year, and they finished third. Am I wrong?
He's
Did you say it's not nearly as good?
Remember everybody was pumping them up when Jelly came back for his second year too, and like sometimes AK wears like just like Frank, like they can wear on you, and sometimes maybe that group had all that returning coming back was not as good as the year before. I kind of like taking AK with a new group, fresh voice here.
I think it's a good group. I
like the guard.
There's not as much proven production in the American, but
sure,
I think the backcourt's super talented. It's just small. They're a small roster this year.
It is, yeah. Rivera, he's actually pretty long. He did a good job of overcoming that with Massachusetts. I remember, he was a machine on the boards for them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see the same level of talent that they had last year. I think there is a drop off. I get, I guess to your point, it is a new group. Hopefully the messaging will be a bit fresher there. But this team is a bit of a head scratcher for me. I definitely have them upper half. I definitely have them probably top 6. I don't know if I can get them into that, like top 3. I'm struggling with this one.
I can't wait to watch this team. They're going to be entertaining with these guards. Yeah, they're a contender for me. I got a 20-year, I got a 5-year sample size with him at UAB, and then 20 years of Ole Miss. So it'll be entertaining, and they'll win plus.
On paper, the roster's not as good offensively, but again, Kennedy has really excelled with that. Like top 3 offenses in the last 4 years of conference play. Like,
yeah,
they're going to be good on that end. So I'm willing to bank on the coaching here.
Austin Claunch, year 2 at UTSA. He did a good job at Nichols for the 3 years prior to that. Then he went over and was on the staff with Nate Oates and company for the final 4 years. Then he takes a UTSA job. 12-19 year 1. We banking on another Nate Oates guy here, Noah?
I don't know if I can get there with this one. We'll see. It's the only guy coming back from, or only guys coming back from last year are a couple of role players. And Boubacar Niger, who was a freshman last year, played 14.5 minutes. And then Mo Niger, who's a grad senior, a 6'11 big man who played 14 minutes a game last year. Other than that, it's a big portal team, but there are a couple of down transfers that we may come to like in season. You got Vaishon Alette from TCU. He played 29 minutes a game last year for the Frogs, averaged 11.5 points, 4 boards, 3.5 assists. He's going to be a big piece for this team, along with McCaleb Rich from Kansas State. He only played 12.5 minutes a game last year for the Wildcats, but in limited attempts, he was 64.5% from the field. You also have an Arizona State transfer in Austin Nunez, a 6'2 senior guard who played 11 minutes a game last year for the Sun Devils. And then even a role player for Duke coming in, and Stanley Borden. So there's an emphasis of bringing in a couple of guys to transfer down and see if the talent plays in the American. Pierce Spencer was a good defender and player previously at Nichols. He was with UTSA last year, didn't play, but he's a 6'3" graduate senior, and he averaged over a steal and a half per game last year, or sorry, in his last year playing with the Colonels, and he's gonna play for this team alongside a Southern Utah transfer and Jameer Simpson, who played 32 minutes a game, averaged 16 points, 4.5 boards, 2 assists with the Thunderbirds, shot 34% from 3 on 3.5 attempts. And then Daniyal Akitabi is the big man that they're expecting to play 20 minutes a game from Morgan State. He shot 59.5% from the field, averaged 9.5 points, 7.5 boards, over a block per game. With them, you got a Barton Junior College transfer and Brenton Moss, a 6'6" junior wing, who averaged 17 and 10 with 2 assists there. But overall, this roster lacks a little pop for me, especially offensively. Defensively, they should be pretty nasty. And at home in San Antonio, they may pull off an upset or two, but that's about as highly as I could talk about the Roadrunners.
Really? Okay. I can kind of see the identity, and they've had to reconstruct. I'm sorry, the Claunch is how to pronounce the coach's name. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Claunch. Okay. He's had to do this a lot. He had to replace his roster often at Nicholls State, and he's had to replace it often at a couple times at UTSA, I believe. So this is something that he's kind of gotten used to. I kind of like the way he's put this team together. These, some of these kids coming like Visan Alette at TCU, he was actually really good in that backcourt. He was really chippy. That's a good get for them. Yeah, I can kind of see how the rotation kind of fits together. Noah, to your point, they are going to be limited offensively, but I think they're going to make up for it in the defensive end. They could be nasty there. Yeah, upper half for me. I'm kind of excited. I'm not. I don't know how many games, how excited I am to see this team play, but I do think that they're going to be able to win.
Well, his teams at Nicholls played really hard.
Yeah.
And I mean, he won 2 regular season titles there before taking the Alabama assistant job. So last year I thought they actually did a pretty good job, all things considered, in league play, being chippy, winning 6 league games. So to what Noah said, I think they're going to be tough out at home. I think it may take another year. They finished 9th last year, which is kind of remarkable in year number 1. So I see more of the same, 12 and 19-ish, but I think that they're competitive and they're older again. All right, let's go over to year number 3, Paul Mills at Wichita. This is a big year because this is a proud program, and they're used to winning, even though they are in the wrong league here. They should be in the Missouri Valley where they belong with all those rivals. But somewhat of a step last year, going 19 and 15 from 15 and 19 year 1. Obviously, he was great at Oral Roberts with Max Abmas. They won an NCAA tournament game, and then got to another one where they won 30 games in that 22-23 year. So, Bienick, big year. They jumped from 5 wins to 8 wins in league play. Can they jump into the top half now here and maybe push for a top 5 spot?
I think it kind of levels out just below 500 with this Wichita State group.
It's a new
my
group.
opinion. Yeah, I know. In my opinion, he had some expectations last year. I think he was picked in the top 5 in the preseason polls and kind of undershot it a little bit. And to me, I'm still doubting that offense. He kind of really lived off of Max Abmas and his tenure at Oral Roberts, and he hasn't really been able to, click it again on the offensive success side of things. With Wichita State, though, they've had back-to-back top 5 defenses in the American, and that's going to play. Where I point to that immediately is the 7'2" big man from Purdue, and it's just a factory that these guys come out, and it's kind of a little bit like gold when you get one out of the portal. And Will Berg hadn't played a ton with the Boilermakers, but that's just a pillar in front of the rim that will definitely play. Then they have the SoCon Defensive Player of the Year and Karan Boyd transferring in from East Tennessee State. He averaged 8.5 points, 7 boards, did a little bit of everything for ETSU last season. Kenyon Giles transfers in from UNC Greensboro, and he shot 40% from three on 6.5 attempts from deep. And they are relying on a Barton Junior College transfer to be their point guard, and Dre Kindle. He's a 5'11 junior who averaged 5 assists a game last year for Barton, 16 points, 3.5 rebounds. And he'll come in, and they're hoping him to be a key cog of the offense because there's not really another proven point guard coming in for this group. They'll be relying on some freshmen that add some depth in that point guard position. So it'll be an interesting thing that they're going to have playing out here. They do have some depth in Jared Valencia, who is a 6'8 redshirt junior forward from Monmouth. They've got a 6'7 freshman. They've got a 6'10 senior from Seton Hall who played 11 minutes a game, and Emmanuel Okafor. There's some depth and reason to believe in the front court here, and I even think the wings have some talent, especially with Giles shooting 40% last year in the SoCon. So, and then Boyd being the depoy. So, we'll see how they do. I think the defense is going to be pretty dang good again, but to not fill the point guard position with some proven production is a big question mark for Wichita State.
No, it's completely fair. I think their size is really going to mess with some teams, especially some of the smaller teams in this league. So I think that and the defense, I think they can kind of hang their hat on. The backcourt, it's a really fair point. They really should. If they had done a better job there, I would feel a lot better about putting this team like the top 5, top 4. But the fact that's just such an obvious hole, and I don't know where the offense is, how the offensive is really going to work with this team. That's defensively, no questions. In the post, no questions. But getting the ball there, that's going to be the struggle.
If Kindle hits as a distributor and can really add to this team, I think they're like a good team, top 5 borderline. But it's just a huge question mark.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Yeah, I want to like this team. I really enjoy Wichita State, especially when they're good. They were their team won the TBT this past summer, and they played all the games in Wichita, and that place was humming.
Yeah.
So I kind of this is one of the better environments in this conference. So I want them to be good. I'm going to take them top half. They might be able to sneak into my top 5. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna have them in my top 5 defensively. I think that they're going to be a machine again, and I'll bank that they're a little bit better offensively. I like their size, physicality, and they got a great home court.
Yeah.
All righty, let's do it. 13-1. Do we all have Charlotte last?
I do.
Me too.
Yeah. All right. Here's where it gets good. Where are we going, Noah?
It's a good league. I like Lanier, but I don't see the second year, boom that he had at SMU. So I've got the Owls 12.
I've also got the Owls 12.
I have Tulsa 12. I don't know what I wanted to do with that team, so I was like, just put him 12. I like Lanier a little more than you guys, I guess. So yeah, I'm going to fade Konkol again.
Okay. 11.
11. I've got UTSA there. I just think it's a team that's really limited offensively and lacks experience, and I do think the defense should be good under Claunch, but I have them in the basement here. 11.
Okay. All right, I've got Tulsa at 11.
I got Rice at 11. I like Lanier, but I got their roster is so little underwhelming.
At 10 is where I'm stuffing East Carolina. I think it lacks offensive talent, and they added some depth through the portal here. But again, it's not a very attractive team for the upcoming season. They've got 3 returning guards that are seniors, and then we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is 10?
Yeah, 10.
Yeah.
I am going to put FAU there.
Okay.
I think they really struggle this season.
I put UTSA at 10, so Claunch and company stay around there, be chippy again, but I can't put them into the middle yet.
Okay.
So at 9, I've got Temple. Front court really lacks depth, but again, I don't think it'll be a top 5 offense either. And last year they were, so I think that's just an inherited step back. I've got them 9.
Okay. At 9, I've got. I'll put East Carolina at 9.
I want the Owls at 9. I'm struggling to find an identity for this team. So yeah, give me Jakus year 2 in the 9 hole.
At 8, I've got Florida Atlantic. It's just a lot of portal gambles on some young talent when the rest of the league's old. So we'll see how that works.
Okay. Sorry, we're at 8 or 9. I apologize.
We're at 8.
8
Okay.
now.
At 8, I've got UTSA. I think they're going to that defense is going to win them games.
8's a perfect spot for Temple, right in the middle. Actually, I have it. I guess 7 would be the middle. I can't wait to give out who I have in 7.
I think we know.
East Carolina.
Yeah.
May the Schwartz be with you. Colby's going to be so pissed up and down, but the bottom does not fall out with Schwartz.
7, I've got Wichita State. Back-to-back top 5 defenses in the league gives you something to be confident in, but big question at the point guard position. So
Okay. At 7, I've got Temple. A little bit of improvement.
You know, I ended up more low on this team than I thought because I liked some of the other teams. I went North Texas at 6.
It's not a bad spot.
I mean, I think so. I think that there's for me there was a clear top 6. I think that the 6th spot will be, what did they play? 18 games.
Yeah,
it could be 11 and 7. I think we get a clump of 11 and 7, 12 and 6 teams. I don't think any of these teams run away with this shit.
Last year, 6th place was 10 and 8, I think.
Okay, I can see that. I like, and what one? Well, Memphis ran away with it last year. I don't see a 16 and 2 this year.
Neither do I. I don't see. I don't see. No.
I think this shit's like 13 and 5.
I think you might be right. Yeah. All right. 6, I have Wichita State. Chippy, but not outside the top 5.
6, I've got Tulsa. It's just so much improved shooting, and they've been like a middle-ish tier defense to where I think if they improve that offense, like I think they will, it improves their floor. So I've got Tulsa 6.
Tulsa 6.
Okay.
At 5, I went Tulane. I like this team. I like the backcourt coming back. I think Ron Hunter gets back-to-back top 5 finishes here.
Okay. At 5, I've got UAB.
5, I've got Tulane, just like Mac. By far the most returning minutes, and there's a lot of talent at the wing. So we'll see what they do about the 5. Lacking a little bit of front court depth there.
I can't wait to do this. At 4, I got Memphis.
That's braver than me. Good job.
They just did it 2 years ago, and this team's going to be up and down. They're going to be entertaining, and they're going to go 11 and 7, and it'll be an underachieving year at the Forum for me.
Okay, this is number 4.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got North Texas coming in 4th. Great season for Daniyal Robinson. Love this team. Really excited to see this.
Yeah, I have North Texas 4th too.
Wow.
You got to reward the continuity from Cleveland State, but at the same time, I don't think they're a title contender because I see that still as a big step up from the horizon to the American.
Give me Wichita in the 3 hole. I think Mills and company, they take another step. I like this size. I like the defense. I think they're going to be a little bit better offensively, and they're going to protect home court.
Okay. 3, I'll go USF. Really good season, really good team, but they don't quite crack the top 2.
I'm going UAB 3rd. Andy Kennedy's had 3 top 3 offenses in the last 4 years. It's another great backcourt, and I think there's some good defense on this team too. Good defensive pieces, I mean.
Okay.
And then in the 2 spot, I'm going to go with the Bulls. I love Hodgson. I like the fit here. I don't think he's going to win the regular season in year number 1. I think
name your 3?
Yeah, Wichita.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Well, Memphis 4, Wichita 3, USF 2. Old. Got good size. They're going to be fun offensively. I think Hodgson gets him into the top 2 here in year 1.
Okay. At 2, I've got Memphis, and they do not make the NCAA tournament.
Oof.
Yeah, I agree with that with Capra. I've got Memphis there as well. They're a very athletic team that's going to excel in transition, but they're going to be chaos and a lot of turnovers. And Penny's teams do have a lot of turnovers. So when you've got Doug at the point, like, expect it.
Okay. So number 1, I think we're all different, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we have 3 different champions. Year after the year, everybody was in on UAB last year. They're going to get it done this year. Let's go Andy Kennedy. New backcourt.
I've got the Tragic Magic coming out in top. Tulane with that backcourt gets the job done.
Yeah, and I've got South Florida. I really think the roster fits together. There's really good shooting with size, experience, and depth in the front court.
Okay.
Tournament winner.
Okay.
Tulane. That's my Tragic Magic. Good backcourt. That's my play.
Okay. I think USF gets it.
2 teams go dancing for me, and neither one's Memphis. I think South Florida is at large, and Tulane gets in as the auto.
I've got the exact opposite. I think Tulane gets in at large, and USF gets the auto.
At large for Tulane. I love it. Bold.
Wichita. Paul Mills, year 3.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah, that was a magical year at Oral Roberts. They're going to get it done this year.
All righty. That's a show.
Sleeper bus.
My apologies. It's not a show. American preseason poll for basketball.
They even do a poll for this league.
I'm sure they did.
So Memphis was picked 1.
Of course.
Bust.
Bust. South Florida 2, Tulane 3, UAB 4, Wichita State 5, FAU 6, North Texas 7, Tulsa 8, Temple 9, East Carolina 10, UTSA 11, Rice 12, and Charlotte 13.
Okay. I've got UTSA as my sleeper, and I've got FAU as my bust.
UAB and Memphis are flips for me. So, yeah, sleeper and bust. Andy Kennedy, Penny Hardaway. I like where I'm at right now.
So I got North Texas as my sleeper. They were picked 7th. I've got them 4th. And then bust. I don't know if I have like a big bust candidate. I think it's
You say Memphis.
I think it's Wichita State. I've got Wichita 7th, and they're picked 5th. That one's probably like a lot of them are 1 or 2 gaps, and that one's probably the one I feel bullish about because I don't want to do it to Tulane. They're picked 3rd, and I think they're good enough to win the tourney.
All right, that's a show.
That's a show.
3 to go. Then there were 3. Tomorrow night, reminder, Conference USA and Missouri Valley, and then the football show after that. God. Another night where I'm going to be on this damn mic for 7 straight hours.
Midnight, baby.
God. I'm going to be hammered by the end of that episode.
This is like your preseason. You're rounding into form for the weekly Saturday marathon.
Tell them,
well, especially doing football with Colby now. They got me working. They got me earning my paycheck, baby. So make sure you subscribe to the College Basketball Experience, College Football Experience, Locks and Dog with Cannabis Capper over there. Yep. You'll see Troy over there as well. I'm gonna plug the Pump Fake Pod too because Huff will be on here tomorrow, and they did a bunch of conference previews, and you'll see those guys coming in and out of the year all season long. So make sure you give them a plug. He is at Cannabis Capper. He is at Noah B77_. See everybody here shortly for the weekday picks. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What day is it, baby? Yes, this is the College Basketball Experience. 28 down, 3 to go. See you Jack Fucks later. And we are out of here. There's nothing left in here. Refill time.